This paper was started, as usual, with a conversation of how do we compare the best use for a tire. Not in terms of money, because money sometimes is not the best way to compare the value of a product, but in terms of energy to society. So I want to acknowledge the work of my co-authors, Jorge and Douglas Carson, that is, as usual, working so we can have fun. And I also need to acknowledge Guilherme Rosa, which is sitting on the back, for his help in some of the information about Kyoto Protocol, green certificates, white certificates. It's a whole new language that we all have to learn outside the United States. So, what was the objective of this paper? Is to present to you some concepts of what energy gets saved to society, not in terms of money, but just energy, if, when we pick up a tire, we decide to use it at alternate daily cover, tire-derived fuel, or decide to use it in asphalt rubber. So the same rubber can have three uses. From the society point of view, how do we save more energy? So we all know tires, and we use normal information that is currently used. We didn't do any investigation on this part. How much energy is used when we burn coal, tire, asphalt, natural gas, propane, gasoline, diesel, and these are normal numbers that are currently used in, they are generic, they are average. So kilojoules spent by kilogram of fuel. These are some of the base data we used. And we start by looking at the alternate daily cover, where we have the tires, and they are put on the top of the waste disposal dumps to prevent the birds going there and eating all the food, so we put the shredded tires. How much energy do we waste or gain doing this process? So we have the tire shredding process, so we lose about 93 kilojoules per kilogram. We have to shred, we have to transport, and then that's it. You know, we shred and transport and replace these. So we basically lost energy by doing this process. What energy do we gain when we use this tire as tire-derived fuel? We basically simplified the process. There are more complex processes, but here we just put all tires in cement kilns. So we, and some are shredded. In average, some are shredded, some are all tires. So we consider some shredding energy, some transportation energy, and some benefit from energy that we gain back from the tire that was burned. So we gained 31,000 kilojoules per kilogram in this process. So it's better than just using it as daily cover. Now, what happens when you do in pavements? We have to create crumb rubber, we have to pave it, and here what we end up considering is the fact that we are now using the Caltrans equivalency factor of 2:1. When we use asphalt rubber in a pavement, we're basically saving the energy corresponding to half of the thickness of the pavement. But there's still some energy lost. We waste energy, or not, we spend energy in tire shredding, transportation. Now we have extra cost, energy costs in granulation. We have to make it fine. Then we have to transport the crumb rubber. We gain by steel recovery. We gain in asphalt it's saved. We gain in aggregate saved. And here when they say saved is the transportation costs of moving aggregate, heating aggregate, blending aggregate. All those energy has been quantified. So by the time we finish with this process, when we use 1 kilogram of crumb rubber in the asphalt rubber, and assuming, this is the assumption behind this analysis, the 2:1 reduction that is accepted by Caltrans, we basically gain about 310,000 to 566,000 kilojoules per kilogram. This range here, at the time we are considering the fact that in Arizona, asphalt rubber is used in open grades, and there is an extra benefit. So the left column there, the 310, is for California approach, and the 566 is for Arizona approach of using crumb rubber in open graded. So the first thing we have to think now is, okay, we have all these crumb rubber. What do we gain by using one way or another? So, in comparison, if we use it in tire-derived, in alternate daily cover, we don't gain much. We just buried it, and we waste money burying it. Tire-derived fuel, yes, we gain some, but it's 10 to 1, sometimes 20 to 1 benefit if we decide to use all our crumb rubber, not to be burned, but from society point of view, to use it in asphalt rubber. Now, this energy will have to come from some place. If we don't use it from the rubber, it has to come from some place. If we don't use crumb rubber, we're going to use some other alternative, and we have to burn fuel, we have to go nuclear, do something to use the energy if we want to do pavements. Now, another way of looking this is, again, for US values, again, using the 2-inch to 4-inch reduction accepted by Caltrans. And sorry, I didn't convert these to kilojoules, but BTUs per pound of crumb rubber, this is how much we save in the process. Now, if we know how much crumb rubber we can use per mile, how much BTUs we save per mile, now, the energy of a BTU, we can determine that if we use 1 gallon of gasoline, how much BTU we save. So we can convert how many gallons of gasoline are corresponding to the energy that we save by using asphalt rubber in 1 mile of road. And just to give you a feeling of what that means, because if you just talk BTUs, we not usually talk BTUs, it's not the language we understand dollars. So the energy we save in 1 mile, one lane mile of using asphalt rubber corresponds to about $69,000, assuming the cost of gasoline is $2.75. Now, it's gone up, sometimes 2, 3, but assuming $2.75 per 1 mile. I want you to get the feeling of it. 1 mile, 1 lane of asphalt rubber use is $69,000. It's like enough to put someone to college. You can decide if you want to have education or you want to have conventional pavements. Now, this is one way of looking at it. Now, if you multiply this by all the lane miles, you see the numbering are staggering, okay? Now, I know this is US, we don't go by the Kyoto Protocol, but 140 other countries in the world go, and it's interesting to know what's out there. And they have determined that there are there's limits for the CO2 greenhouse emissions, and they try to bring back everything to some year before, I think was 1998. And this will condition how much development we can have, where can we have it, and if we are willing to pay for it, because we must limit CO2 emissions. Now, to give you a feeling of how important this is, in Europe, the European Automobile Manufacturers Association has agreed that by 2008, all cars will only emit 140 grams per kilometer of CO2 emissions. Now, the Japanese went along, the Korean went along, obviously, the West didn't obey, doesn't abide by Kyoto, so here we don't have laws about that. But obviously, there's, as you know, Schwarzenegger is very strong on trying to reduce emissions too, on some other, but not through this process. Now, if we assume, and this is, again, an assumption that I made for the paper, which may not be too far from reality, that the gallons of gasoline saved are used in a car, and that car wastes 2.4 kilos of CO2 per liter, and these are normal numbers. Then, per lane mile, if we use asphalt rubber, we are saving 146 tons of CO2 if you do asphalt rubber. I repeat, instead of using the conventional 4 centimeters, if you use 2 centimeters, and assuming that the BTU savings correspond from savings from gasoline use, obviously the reality, the trucks use diesel, and there's some other processes, but just to give you a ballpark figure, it's not going to be too far, but it's not the real number, then we'll be saving 146 tons per mile of CO2. Now, you don't get excited, what's the 146 tons per mile of CO2? I don't know. So, again, I made an effort here to convert this in something you know. Now, outside the United States now, there is agencies that buy certificates. For each ton of CO2 you can save, you can sell those certificates for about $30 a ton. So saving of CO2 in the world is now valued about $30 a ton. This is a number in the market. Now, let's see what happens just in California if we would go by the Kyoto treatment, and asphalt rubber is a strategy that is recognized as saving energy. There's, 2 ifs here. Then we'd be saving on, and we are rehabilitating California's 11,000 lane miles. This is a number that is current in California. By each year, we rehabilitate about 11,000 lane miles. Then we'd save about 1.6 million tons of CO2. They cost the going rate of CO2 tons is $30. So we'd be saving $48 million. Now, what is $48 million? In terms of California budget, they have $200 million to maintain roads, sometimes $150 million. So we are talking here about something that is worth about 1/4 to 1/3 of the maintenance budget of California, just in the value of CO2 emissions. Now, see this at the scale of a country like Brazil that decides to embark on asphalt rubber use. Now, if you go by the Kyoto treatment, you see that I don't know how many miles you have in Brazil of maintaining roads, but it's probably a little more than 11,000 miles. The amount of savings to the country that you can then sell to the international market in CO2 certificates is huge. And I think this mechanism of converting the savings brought up by the energy saved on a use of a pound of rubber, converting into CO2 emissions, it would be the driving force, far than anything else, to introduce asphalt rubber all over the world. So, in conclusion, it's highly cost-effective in terms of energy environment is concerned to use asphalt rubber as part of maintenance strategies and even new road construction for the areas where it's needed. If and when the Kyoto treatment is in full force in all these countries, then it's a fantastic opportunity to introduce asphalt rubber, because those that do so have fantastic funding mechanism for implementing all these strategies. Thank you.
Any questions?
Do I interpret this correctly, that you get the improvement in reduction of CO2 by cars is because the rubber in the asphalt reduces the rolling resistance of the car? Or how does the surface and the car correlate in the two?
Okay, I was not very clear on that part. No. It has nothing to do with asphalt rubber and the rolling resistance. It has to do how much, which that could be a good point, and yesterday we saw Professor Camille showing that there is less particle, less CO2 too, but I didn't include that in my analysis. What I'm just considering is the reduction in thickness when you go from 10 centimeters to 5 centimeters, 4 inches to 2 inches. The energy saved in not putting those extra materials in the road. There's half of the road we don't have to dig from a mountain. There's half of the road we don't need to transport. There's half of the road we don't have aggregates to warm up. There's half of the road we don't need to mix. There's half of the asphalt we didn't want to put. So all these savings in energy that go with all the process of even paving, less rolling effort, less trucks moving the mix from the plant to the construction site. All these savings, that's what I'm considering here. Thank you for that question. Maybe it wasn't clear from my presentation.
I have a question. You had a slide with the BTUs per pound. The BTUs per pound of crumb rubber?
Yes.
Is that the heat value of the BTU or of the crumb rubber?
Very good question. Sorry, this is the part I missed. Okay, this is the same that if you convert kilojoules that you gain in the process, here you have kilojoules per kilo. If you convert kilojoules per kilogram, it corresponds to 133 BTUs. Again, this is 1 pound of rubber used in an asphalt rubber road corresponds to a saving of 133,000 BTUs because we didn't use aggregate, we didn't use binder, we didn't use mixing on half of the pavement thickness.
Okay, yeah, it just seemed high because the BTUs of a gallon of fuel oil is about 125,000. The number just seemed pretty high to me.
No, but this is not BTUs to be burned by the tire. It's BTUs that you save by not moving all mountains and destroying mountains and moving aggregate and warming up aggregate to 200 degrees. And when we started looking at these numbers, we couldn't believe ourselves, and we had to go back and forth. It is huge.
Ali Salim, South Dakota State University. Would you come to the same conclusion if we just use the unit price instead of putting 4 inches of asphalt mat, put 2 inches, and just take the unit price of the aggregate and the binder and whatnot and go to the dollar values right away instead of going to the BTUs and kilojoules? Would you come up with the same conclusion?
I don't know, but you see, I think when you go through, I didn't want to go through that process because I wanted to make sure this is something that does nothing to do with the costs, the actual cost, because the cost of bitumen goes up and down in society, the cost of gasoline goes up and down. The only reason I bring into a cost is to give you a feeling of the importance of the BTU saving in something we can all understand. Because if I just come here and say, well, we saved, I don't know, it's a very big number, 31,000 million BTUs per mile. You look at me and say, what is this? So I had to come down to numbers. That's why I converted it into dollars. But obviously, important thing is the big number of how much energy we are saving per mile. I'm just converting it to some dollars to give you a feeling of the importance of these at current costs of energy for gasoline, for instance, which is not the most expensive one. But this is the energy we are saving. That's the important one. And obviously the next important one is the I actually don't have here. Oh, the tons of CO2. This is tons. 1 million tons of CO2 saved in California per year if all the roads were converted using this concept. So these are the important numbers. When I convert them into dollars, is so we see the relative importance of these huge numbers.